Before the Flame, The Fall of Ashalonu, a dual chronicle of paradise lost and betrayal born. Prologue, The Words That Haunted Two Worlds. From the Universal Geographical Grammar, 1777, a vast empire of the blacks stretching from the river Senegal to the Indian Sea. The natives of America are of a copper complexion, yet many resemble Ethiopians in build and bearing. What they wrote as observation was once reality. Before the flame consumed everything, there were two great civilizations on opposite sides of the world, both about to fall to the same hungry beast. Part 1. The Last Days of Paradise. Chapter 1. Through the eyes of Mari Ose Raincrow, High Priestess of the North Temple, Ashalonu Moon of the Harvest, year 7132, 1491 CE. I write these words on bark paper beneath the singing stars as my ancestors taught me. The constellation of the Great Turtle rises tonight, and with it comes a vision that chills my blood like winter wind through summer corn. Our land of Ashalonu stretches beyond the horizon in all directions, from the frozen peaks where the sky touched one's mind copper, to the warm waters where our cousins harvest pearls. For thousands of seasons, we have lived as the Creator intended, in harmony with the Earth Mother, in counsel with our neighbors, in peace with the star nations above. Our cities are not built to conquer nature, but to dance with her. The great temple towers of the Mississippi rise like prayers made stone, their astronomical alignments singing with celestial music. The cliff palaces of the western canyons embrace the red rock as lovers embrace. The longhouses of the eastern forests breathe with the rhythm of ancient groves. We are not primitive, as some would later claim. Our mathematics calculate eclipses centuries in advance. Our medicine keepers cure ailments with plants European doctors will not discover for another 400 years. Our councils of women govern with wisdom accumulated over 7,000 years of recorded memory. Our traders journey to Africa, to Asia, to islands beyond the sunset, carrying not conquest but commerce, not swords but stories. The children of Ashalonu learn 3 languages by age 7, astronomy by 12, the songs of healing by 15. They are taught that strangers are teachers in disguise, that hospitality is sacred, that the earth belongs to no one and everyone at once. How could we know that these very virtues, our openness, our trust, our beautiful naivety about human evil, would become the weapons used to destroy us? The vision came during the festival of the 7 stars. I saw ships with wings like giant birds, but their song was the cry of vultures. I saw men with faces pale as bone and hearts darker than winter nights. Behind them walked others, men with skin like ours but eyes empty of ancestors' wisdom. These dark-skinned men wore the clothes of the pale ones and carried steel that sang with blood. The sacred pools showed me temples burning, children in chains, our star maps torn and trampled. I saw our people, the builders of pyramids, the singers of the plant songs, the keepers of the sky wisdom, reduced to beasts of burden in foreign lands. I called the Council of 12 Fires. The grandmothers came from the 4 directions, their faces grave with knowing. Elder Wind Song of the Eastern Mountains spoke first. The time of testing comes, as was prophesied in the days of formation. We have lived in peace for 7,000 years. Now we must choose, fight the darkness, or be consumed by it. But Elder Singing Waters of the southern rivers shook her white head. Our strength has always been in welcome, in the open hand, in the shared hearth. If we become what they are, do we not lose ourselves in saving ourselves? This is our tragedy. We were too good for the world that was coming. My daughter Ayana, only 16 summers old, served sacred corn drink to the council. Her eyes held the same gentleness that has always been the glory and curse of our people. "Mother," she whispered to me, "perhaps these strangers come to learn from us, as others have." I could not bear to tell her what the visions showed. her own beautiful face branded with ownership marks, her hands picking cotton instead of planting corn, her children sold away like pottery at market. The council decided, as I knew they would, we would welcome these strangers. We would offer them food, shelter, knowledge. We would show them our cities, teach them our ways, trust in the great law of reciprocity that has always governed relations between peoples. We could not imagine beings who took hospitality as weakness, who saw kindness as opportunity, who mistook our advanced civilization for primitiveness simply because we chose harmony over dominance. The ships arrived with the morning star. Part 2. The Betrayer's Burden. Chapter 2. The Diary of Abdul Rahman ibn Malik al-Andalusi, former noble of Granada, now navigator for Columbus. October 12, 1492. Allah forgive me. I have become complicit in an abomination. When the Catholic monarchs offered us a choice, conversion, exile, or death, I chose what I thought was life. When that Genoese madman Columbus promised us land and wives in his new world in exchange for our navigational knowledge, I saw it as a pathway to rebuild what we had lost in Al-Andalus. I was wrong. We were not offered partnership. We were made accomplices in genocide. The island people greeted us as gods returning home. They brought food, water, gifts of gold and pearls. Their cacique, a woman of perhaps 30 summers with eyes like deep waters, welcomed Columbus as a brother, offering him the sacred hospitality their people have practiced for millennia. Columbus smiled and accepted their gifts. Then he ordered the seizure of their gold mines. I tried to warn them in the few words of their language I had learned. Danger comes with white sails. But they only smiled and brought more food. By the third day, Columbus had selected 20 of their finest young people for shipment back to Spain as specimens. By the first week, he had marked locations for slave pits and fortifications. By the month's end, he was planning the construction of what he privately called breeding facilities for the generation of future laborers. The indigenous queen, they called her Anacaona, meaning golden flower, still believed we were visitors. She showed us their astronomical calculations, their medical texts, their trade routes connecting this island to vast mainland civilizations. She spoke of great cities to the west with temples that touched the sky, of councils of wise women who governed through consensus rather than force. Your people and ours are clearly related, she said through her interpreter, a young man who spoke Arabic learned from earlier African traders. See how our children share the same deep eyes, the same love of learning? We must surely be branches of the same ancient tree. She was right. These people were clearly connected to the great African civilizations. Their architecture, their astronomy, their social organization all bore the marks of shared ancient wisdom. They were us 7,000 years ago, before conquest taught us cruelty. And we were about to teach them that lesson in the most brutal way possible. My fellow Moors and I gathered in secret that night. Hassan al-Wazir, once a judge in Cordoba, spoke for all of us. We cannot be party to the destruction of our own cousins. These people are what we once were, free, learned, trusting in the Creator's abundance. But what choice did we have? Return to Spain meant the Inquisition. Refusal here meant being marooned on an island about to become a slaughter ground. Columbus had made it clear. We were his prisoners as much as his partners. Some of us chose complicity over death. Others chose death over complicity. Still others chose a third path, sabotage from within. I began copying their maps in secret, learning their languages, documenting their true history. If their civilization was to be destroyed, at least some record of its greatness might survive. But even as I write these words, Spanish soldiers march through villages that welcomed them with celebration. Even as I document their wisdom, their wise ones are being loaded onto ships bound for Caribbean sugar plantations. The great lie begins here, that these were primitive people who benefited from European civilization. The truth is that they possessed sciences we had forgotten, social systems more advanced than anything in Europe, technologies that worked in harmony with nature rather than against it. Within 50 years, Columbus's own reports estimate the population of this island fell from over 1 million to fewer than 500. It was not disease alone that killed them. It was the systematic destruction of hope.